I'm dressed more American-ish because I'm joined by a guest in California. So I got my big ass American cup. Electrolytes or something. I got my nice pink hat. It's actually a Pepsi hat, which I feel is somehow more American than Coca-Cola. And some nice sunglasses. I couldn't get aviator glasses, that's what I really wanted for this episode's theme, but I didn't have them on hand. I am sure our guest will forgive me. There's an IGN cushion right here that shouldn't be here. It's usually this side. It's more website agnostic. But my guest today in this show that likes to look at American developed video games like Americans look at video games developed everywhere else is Drew Scanlon. Please clap for Mr. Drew Scanlon.
Hello,
Hi, Drew.
guys.
Hi, Drew. It's so nice to see you through the
the
technology of our time. I'm gonna even take off these glasses, pull them up, so I can see you.
Oh my god! And you have even smaller glasses underneath.
It is. It's one of the many advantages of my tiny little glasses is that I can put bigger glasses on top of them. I love and it is always a surprise. It's always a nice surprise. I've done in some videos I've stacked like 3 or 4 pairs of glasses. It's pretty cool.
That is a visual gag in the film Airplane.
It is. Yes. Still one of the funniest movies ever made, right?
Absolutely. And it sounds like apropos of today's recording.
Oh my. It is. This yes, it is going to be quite something. I love that when creators do suspense on stuff that is probably going to be in the title of this video, if we think about it. It's probably going to be in the thumbnail and the title. Anyways, we're old school fellas.
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm in the dark.
So, Drew, the idea of the show is that Americans love to talk about jank. Eurojank especially. You're familiar with Eurojank in game development, right?
Yes.
It is something that we almost can't define, but it's there. You feel it. You see a game like Metro 2033, and you go,
oh yes,
this came from the Eastern Bloc.
Eastern Eurojank.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was thinking about, doing a show in English. That's why I have a name tag, because it doesn't matter how much of a big deal you are until you do something in English that American people watch. So this is me. You don't know me. I'm Gus. Been doing this for 16 years. But, got to introduce yourself to a new audience. It's like Anita. We all knew her for a long time, but she's new to you. She's new to you. So I'm the Anita of gameplay videos now. And so the idea here is my first batch of guests are all American, I think, but eventually I'm going to spread out. But the idea is to take kind of a theme or genre and look at 2 games. One, developed in American by Americans, because we trust you guys. You're trying hard to make video games. You're not Japanese, you're not, French, but you can probably do it, and we'll look at an American version, and we'll see, what Americans can learn from the rest of the world when it comes to unjanking those video games. So, one of the games we're going to play. It is Microsoft Flight Simulator, right?
Yes.
But first, speaking of flight, people may not know you. People may not know your illustrious career. You're a man who's been at Giant Bomb. You had your own amazing documentary series about video game across the world, which already makes you better than most Americans for having a passport and the desire to travel beyond your borders. People can still watch Clothmap, right, on YouTube?
Yes.
And
I think it's youtube.com/Clothmap.
Awesome. And which countries did you go to again?
Let's see. We started with Ukraine, and then the second country was Brazil.
Right.
And then, I think it was Cuba, and then the Balkans, so Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia, and then Mongolia.
Nice.
Maybe missing one in there, but that's
maybe, yeah.
Over 3 years, that was it.
I love that at some point there you just smushed 3 countries into one thing because, it's the Balkans. Great. Very American of you. That is awesome. I bothered to reference the state you're in. You still looked at 3 countries in Europe and you went, it's a 1 episode. All right. So The reason I chose flight games for Drew, people may not know, is that Drew, you are a trained pilot.
I am. Well, yes, enough to have a pilot's license.
You've been trained to pilot. How well?
Yes.
We are not. I'm not putting my hand
Right.
on fire for you, but you can actually fly like a tiny plane if you want to, right? You're legally allowed to.
I can, yes.
Have you done that much?
So I got my pilot's license in February of 2020.
All right.
So there was not a lot of flying thereafter
Oh.
because of COVID.
I guess, yeah. Like, well, you're alone in the plane. It's pretty safe as far as COVID
but you
goes.
have to go and you have to go to a place and rent the plane. I don't own a plane, so I have
yeah.
to go rent them. And like, if you go for too long without flying, you want to go with an instructor to make sure that your skills are still sharp, and that requires a person in the plane. Yeah. So I haven't flown since then.
Oh, that sucks. But so you use? I'm sure you used flight simulators to train, but do you still use flight simulators at home to like keep your skills sharp?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's actually something that the most recent Microsoft Flight Simulator enables you to do, which is like actually fly the route that you are going to fly in real time and in real. It's a very visual activity because you're constantly like looking outside to make sure you're going in the right place. There's the right freeway I'm following. There's a mountaintop or whatever. And it wasn't until this most recent one that got the Earth pretty accurate that you're actually able to do that. Because what you don't want to do in a flight sim is like learn bad habits, right?
Yeah.
So I feel better in this most recent one about doing that.
Yeah, I certainly had to download the Earth to install that game for us to be able to play it today.
Oh yeah.
So and that is some people like me when I was doing pre-production for this episode might have assumed it was an American game. It's something very American.
It is not.
It is not. It's a Sobo Studio. People may not know. It's a French studio, and I was looking into things they did a lot of stuff. They did the fuel racing games. They did so many. And did you know
Plague Tale?
A Plague Tale, the recent 2 Plague Tale games? Yeah. Like these guys do, they kind of seem to do everything. They did the Up game, the movie that makes you cry from Pixar.
Oh,
it's about flying. It's not on planes, of course, but I watched it on a plane. And so when I was faced with the fact that the game that I thought was most American was not American at all, I had to go hunting for a few games. I'm not going to tell you yet what our game is. I'm going to let you guess a little bit. But our first try here, when I was talking to Lucas, our producer, and I was like, we need to find a flying game from America. Because my initial idea was like Flight Simulator versus Pilot Wings, which I love, which is Japanese. But then, can't do that. Format of the show already killing me, episode 2. So he was like, immediately, he was like, well, my Microsoft Flight Simulator X is from an American studio. I was like, oh yeah, I even forgot that existed. So I downloaded that from Steam. Can't get it to run. Like, it will install, I can open the menu, but it won't load a mission. It's an old
Microsoft kind of ignored Flight Simulator for a long time.
It did, but before it ignored it, it launched a free-to-play game called Microsoft Flight. Also developed by an American studio, Drew. And it is tied to Games for Windows Live. So it requires Games for Windows Live, a service that went down in 2018 completely. So if that's not jank enough for you, Drew, I don't know what is. But thankfully, to some YouTubers out there and some people who developed like a jailbreak kit, you can still play it with no Games for Windows account. You can unlock everything that was, that you can't buy anymore. But I'll spare you that experience because we found that too late. We remembered Microsoft Flight existed too late, so we went with something else, which I think is not only very much American jank, but it also ties into stuff like the new Top Gun movie, and things like that. But before we get into that, something that came to mind yesterday when I was kind of writing the outline of today, I was like, oh, we're going to have a Brazilian and an American in an episode about flight. So we must, address, there's some, let's say, little battle of the wills when it comes to the history of flight. You guys think your guys, Wright brothers, I don't know their first names. No one knows their first names because they didn't invent flight. You think your guys with a catapult invented flight? We think our guy with a plane that actually took off invented flight, Santos Dumont in Paris. What is your personal take there on what matters most? Is it landing? Is it taking off? Is it needing a catapult?
I would say sustained independent flight. And I think if we're going that far, we're probably thinking about the balloon guys.
The balloon
know,
guys. No, but
South
I
America.
think I think balloon guys take it because like balloons are awesome. First of all, for flight or no flight, just for parties, but
Yeah.
also and sometimes for doing nitrous at parties too as well, which is a way to get high, not in altitude sense, but also Jew. But going back to planes, who do you think invented the airplane as we know it?
Well, as an American, I'm
Uh huh.
gonna have to say the Wright brothers,
You
guys.
would lose citizenship really fast if you didn't say that, wouldn't you? It's all right. It's all right. I don't. I've been to your country. To some places of your country, never lined up to board a catapult. But I'll maybe that's your culture somewhere else. It's fine. A lot of pilots use wristwatches, right?
Yes, historically.
Yeah, yeah. You know who invented that?
Who's that?
Santos Dumont, who invented the airplane, Brazilian guy. He invented that because he was a real pilot and he needed to look at his watch when he was flying.
Okay.
You see, it's one of the many evidences we have. He also invented a very dangerous type of stairs where it's only half of the step each way, so it forces you to start with your right foot every time, and it's really easy to like fall and break your neck. So I mean, the man was not perfect, completely. I am
But a real
not.
innovator. It
But
sounds like.
indeed, sometimes in things that did not need innovation. But you live in San Francisco, so you know a little bit about that.
Yes.
Kind of surrounded by the folks there. Oh, and also I want to congratulate you. You work at Digital Eclipse now, right?
It's true.
And you
Yes.
recently released the amazing Cowabunga. No, you're about to release the Cowabunga collection of the Teenage
That's
Mutant
right.
Ninja Turtles, and you already released a couple games you kind of had stuff to do with, right?
That's right. Let's see. Before that, it was the Space Jam: A New Legacy
Yes.
video game, which is
Yes.
I think available for free on Xbox. And then
Oh,
before that, it
nice.
was the Blizzard Arcade Collection.
That was good because like that was in the vein of like the Neo Geo collection they did as well of like, oh, we're gonna take the stuff that you don't even remember that they did and like a legacy that
Yeah.
it's nice to package up and bring forward. And I love the way you guys like package stuff, and I think your skills as a audio visual producer will benefit them greatly, and I can't wait for the Cowabunga collection.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, the Turtles is a great package.
Ah, awesome. I
And
just played
I
it.
can say that because I didn't work as much on it. I'm
Oh,
working
okay.
on the other title, which was just announced, the Atari 50th anniversary collection.
Oh, I saw Mike Micah talking about it on Twitter, and I'm really looking forward to that. Because like through my cousin, like I caught the like tail end of like the 2600, here, like in the like early 90s. There was no new games, but people were still playing with their Ataris before they got their Mega Drives or SNESs. So that's gonna be interesting to see that stuff with more context and historical material. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. Like I had my uncle gave me his 2600, and so I kind of had a sense of that. But like, it's such a big part of the game industry that is kind of like a black hole for me. And
Yeah.
so, number one, learning about all that stuff, and then being able to put all that information in like a way that someone kind of new to those old games can grasp and understand, and like you said, contextualize. I think is really valuable. So I'm really excited for people to see it.
Totally, because I feel like nowadays we always talk about Atari and like, oh, the American video game crash, again, something that only happened in America, but you guys, whatever. But we talk about Atari as a company and like how the growth of the gaming business back then was really due to Atari, but we don't talk about the games themselves. And just it seems the approach of having the games and kind of remixing the experience and making it more accessible and inviting to new players is going to be a great way to have an interactive historical package of that stuff.
Yeah. And
all right, so we shilled your stuff.
Yes.
But it was honest. Drew didn't ask me to do it. I am actually really excited about this stuff, and I'm a fan of Digital Eclipse. So we're going to start now with Flight Simulator. I want you to be you will be my my instructor here. So first thing, instructor, do you feel I should use a mouse and keyboard or a gamepad? Because those are my options. I don't have a flight stick.
Let's see. I would probably say I think the game is pretty good on gamepad, if I recall.
Okay.
I usually play with the flight sticks, but I think it's safest maybe to do mouse and keyboard.
All right,
just
so
start there.
Mouse and keyboard. Okay, I'll leave the gamepad here on my side, and I am going to open the Microsoft. Oh, I think you just might have seen something that people at home have not.
Oh, am I maybe looking at are we foreshadowing here?
We are foreshadowing, but just for you.
Okay.
People at home have no idea.
Let's just say I'm excited.
But you can see here also, Drew is looking right now at what the kind of efforts I go through to produce this show. The list on my Steam of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition are all here, nice and together at last. So it's kind of weird for me how Flight Simulator and Flight Simulator X both open kind of like web pages. Like it's just a menu. It's again, I would call it American jank.
Have you ever played iRacing?
No, that is like real simulation stuff, right?
Yeah, and it is very much a web page when you open it up. The
I remember
interface is very odd. However, they just hired former Giant Bomb designer Dave Snyder with them, so things may change.
Dave is gonna get it in shape. The first game I think I played that kind of had that approach was Battlefield 3, I think. Where like the multiplayer matchmaking opened just like a web page. It minimized the game, opened a web page, and then you would go. Like it worked, but it's weird. It's again, I'm gonna check that as if we have a counter on screen right now for American jankiness. Another point for American jankiness. It's not even this game, but I don't care. It's all American.
Look at all these new American activities. I saw a statue of the Battle of Iwo Jima.
Wow.
We got the St. Louis Arch there.
Oh yeah, and the flags, dude. This is perfect for for our theme here on the show. It's why this is supposed to be a flight game for everyone, for all of us. Why is it so American? It's so funny. It's so funny. It like you have the whole world, and I bet these 3 fucking places are all in America.
Yeah, that looks like in the middle, maybe like Colorado Rockies, and then on the right, I'd say northeast, maybe Vermont or something.
Right.
Maine.
And what is that arch on the left there? Is that famous?
It's in St. Louis.
St. Louis. All right.
Yes. And then in the background, that looks like some California mountain. Oh no, that's Grand Canyon.
All right.
There you
go. Okay. All right. So.
Okay.
Where should I? This is already a lot of stuff, I know.
Oh yeah.
But we should probably go to flight training, I believe.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to have them kind of talk you through the Cessna there.
Well, I actually want you to talk me through it because right now I need to tell you my bona fides. Like I have some experience. I played some Flight Simulator 95, and then kind of a lot of 98. So those two were my thing. So I remember like using the numpad 9 to get throttle up, and I think G would pull up the wheels there, whatever you call that. There's a name for like the wheels, right?
The yoke.
Maybe no, like when you pull up, like you fold the wheels into a big aircraft.
Oh, the landing gear.
The landing gear. That is right.
Yeah.
So, there's a little bit of Brazil over there. There's a little bit of Rio right there. A little bit of Egypt. That's nice. That's I think that's Mount Fuji. Now I feel more like, yeah, this is flight. This is exploring the Earth. So maybe, is there a way for us to like just set up a little flight path that you can like take me through without being, because I did some of these flight training missions when the game came out, and I remember being bored. And I think you will be way less boring than this video game.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games you kind of have to make your own fun a lot of the time. So why don't we? Do you want to fly around Rio?
Sure, let's do it. Yeah. So we go. So should we go to Discovery flights or should we go to World Map?
Or do you want to fly around America?
Let's
do an American flight.
Let's. You know what might be useful for us here and for you as instructor. How about we do kind of like? Can we do kind of the flights you did as you were training and taking your getting your license?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, so I'd click on World Map.
All right.
And then departure airport there, type in KOAK. In the search field, yeah. KOAK.
Oh, K-O-A-K.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Metropolitan. Yep.
All right.
And then on runway, select, 10 right.
10 right. All right. And we're going to...
Let's see. Let's go to, type in Petaluma. See if that'll get you something. There you go.
All
069.
right. 69. All right. I think we're gonna change this airplane. I don't think you practiced on a 787. Not yet, Drew.
Yeah,
not yet. You follow your dreams. You follow your dreams.
That's true.
I couldn't be a pilot, right? Because I wear glasses, so that's off for me, right?
Oh, well, you couldn't be a fighter pilot, but you could certainly be a commercial or a civilian pilot.
Oh, civilian pilots can wear glasses. Oh, that's cool.
Of course.
Awesome. Yeah. So should we search?
Are we flying like what I fly?
Yeah. Let's simulate your life here. We're gonna recreate
All right.
your life in the metaverse. This is a metaverse, right? That's what the kids are calling this, right?
Yeah. So type in 172. Oh wow. Oh wait, scroll up.
Oh yeah, there's more.
Okay. Let's go with the top left.
Top left. All right.
Yeah.
A lot of red arrows pointing down.
Yes, it cruises slower than the 787.
Oh, what? You
Yeah.
can't do transatlantic flight with this. All right. I don't think.
Right, I think. Look at this.
How did yours look? What is the closest?
I think probably the second one.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Weight and balance. Let's leave that as it is.
I think we're good
You want some
there.
failures? was your plane full of failures? Was it a trash plane?
I feel like we'll have our own failures. We don't need our help. We don't need.
Oh, I guarantee some human failure.
Yeah.
All right, no customization of the plane. Let's close that. All right, so we have the route. We have the flight conditions.
Yeah. Can you click on that? Is it currently live?
Yeah, we could do live, or we could do like whatever time.
Do live. I'm looking out the window right now. The weather's perfect.
Awesome. That's awesome. You're almost like our tower control.
Yeah.
From your.
Wait, that looks a little. Wait, can you go back to flight conditions?
Uh-huh.
That looks like 6 p.m. Oh, click on the one above it, live weather,
Oh, live weather. Yeah. Okay.
and then
So
weather and time in the lower left.
lower left. Oh, okay.
Click live.
All right.
There we
Oh yeah. Now there we are. All right. And now I think we're ready.
Yeah, let's do it. It's interesting seeing what gets localized here into Portuguese and what does not.
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff, because it's like standardized internationally, like I think a lot of stuff just is in English for everyone, right? For flight in general. So
That's true.
It's easier that way.
Yeah, flight communication internationally is always in English.
Yeah. I think it's amazing that they're still having to find ways to compress airport games into. Like they finally went to 4 letters at some point.
Right. There you go. There you are.
There. Oh, there we are. All right. This game is very pretty. I got the graphics down to a little bit so we could record with no problem, but still.
For takeoff runway 10 right,
Jesus,
Cessna
it's
X-ray Golf
such a beautiful
Sierra.
game. Have you played it on Xbox just to put it on a big screen?
I have not yet.
It is. Maybe it's still on Game Pass. I think it is. And I did it. I put it on my Series X and the Series S actually, and just put it on the big living room TV, and it's just amazing. All right, are we ready to fly, or do you want to tell me something? All right.
I think we're ready.
We're here.
And it's giving you
instructions for the gamepad, so we'll do gamepad.
Gamepad.
Release parking brake.
Yep.
Full throttle. Let's go.
Okay. All right. We're watching.
Kind of jiggles a little bit.
Yeah. Airspeed's coming alive. We'll probably take off around 50 knots or 60 knots. Okay, there's 50. All right. Gently lift her off.
All right.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah.
The nose kind of falls really easily when you take your hands off the tilt here of the left analog of whatever you call it on the yoke, right?
The yoke, yeah.
The yoke, yes.
Can you use the right stick to move your head around?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Ooh, look at that.
Okay. Very cool.
X-ray Golf Sierra continue for east departure.
Oakland
all right,
Tower,
so
Cessna Alpha
I'd say
Sierra
turn
X-ray Golf Sierra
left,
continue for east
do
departure.
a 180.
Or a 90? 180?
180, yeah, so turn around and go back the way you came.
Oh, okay.
I actually had you take off in the wrong direction.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, we can see should be a basketball stadium.
Okay, so do I need to get my speed down there?
So, yeah, if you turn too sharply and up at the same time, you'll lose airspeed.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think that that waypoint out there at 37 nautical miles is your destination. So
yeah.
we'll actually, if you want to see some American landmarks though, turn let's see, go at about 10 o'clock.
So
where you are now.
Right here.
Yeah, that direction.
Yeah. I wish I knew there's a button here. Oop. There's a button that will change our camera. Oh, this is it.
Oh yeah, nice.
All right.
So, yeah, if you look down to your lower right, that's the Oracle Arena where it's the A's stadium, and then down there the Oracle Arena is where the Warriors used to play.
Awesome. Dude, this game looks really good.
It looks good. And then
It's the French game design in motion.
Yeah. That's Oakland ahead of you.
All right.
And
been there.
To the left there, you can see that bridge heading to an island that's Treasure Island, and then on the other side of that is San Francisco. So over there is the Golden Gate Bridge. And one of my favorite things to do in any version of Flight Simulator is to fly under the Golden Gate.
Flying under bridges in general. I've only done it in video games, but in every video game, it has been very fulfilling. So, my altitude right now is like 1,000 feet. Is that like the altitude I should be in?
Generally cruise a little higher,
Okay.
just for safety.
Right.
But you can do whatever you want. You're in a video game.
No, but you're the instructor.
Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Oh, okay. I've been really impressed
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra frequency change.
with the way that they do the radio.
NorCal approach Cessna
this game.
Alpha Sierra
That is a
X-ray Golf
huge
Sierra
part
is
of
type
learning to
Cessna
fly.
Skyhawk 5 miles north of Oakland.
Is learning
So, like,
how to
300
use
feet.
And always being
Request
kind of like
clearance
paying
to
attention to that.
transition Charlie airspace.
Yes.
So what are they? It's just me like going through different airspaces, different like control towers.
Yeah, so what just happened was the control tower of the Oakland airport just
Squawk
handed
5,
you off
102
to
Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra.
another controller that's not at an airport but just controls general airspace in this area.
500 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Emeryville, right there. I've heard of that place. Have not been.
Yes, that's
Cleared through the
where
Charlie airspace,
Pixar is,
Cessna
and it's where
X-ray
Digital
Golf
Eclipse
Sierra.
is.
Oh, nice. That's why probably I heard of that place, either because of Pixar or you guys.
Yeah. So if you continue toward that waypoint, that'll take you right to Petaluma. But if you want to see stuff, we could turn to the left and then cruise by San Francisco.
Yeah, let's do like. We're not in a rush here. We're flying solo, as the plane says.
That's right. So I would go over that, just take a 90-degree turn and follow that bridge. You can see there.
Oh, okay.
And I would actually, after the turn is done, reduce your throttle just a little bit.
Okay, so let's see how I do that. Okay. So around maybe here?
That was good. I'd like to keep it more in the green, out of the red.
Okay.
In the engine RPM and in the airspeed.
Is there like I don't really know the reason. Is there a reason we use nautical miles for flight measurements of distance?
It's weird because so nautical miles and knots are easy to calculate together. So you can some airplanes have miles per hour instead of knots though. So it kind of depends. But it's a lot of the stuff is just like I think it just comes from inflation. It's
Right.
down from sailing, you know.
Hey, we're kind of sailing, right? We're sailing the winds, man.
Right.
Listen, like I see that plane, this and there. Like it's probably some Alan Parsons project playing on that little Cessna. You know, some prog. Just looking out and going like, man, it's a big blue marble we're in, man.
It's true. I mean,
Have you
people,
met some guys like that in your flight life?
I will tell you, the flying community is full of oddballs. I think it's like any enthusiast community.
Yeah.
But flying is such a weird thing. It's kind of a bygone pastime because it doesn't make financial sense. And to even get started with it, you need a lot of money. It took me many years to get my license because it costs so much with fuel and instructor time and everything. So you really have to love it, and the people that love it really, really do. So you get a lot of those.
I think for any complex and kind of somewhat expensive hobby, you always end up with the really dedicated guys who might seem very oddballish, you know, whose oddball traits will, you know, surface before all other traits. You know, kind of like I watched a lot of ham radio videos.
Yeah.
I was into that for a while.
Another license I recently got.
Oh yeah! Wow. So now you can talk, cause like I was very interested in it, cause my grandfather used to be like in the '60s.
Is that right?
'70s. He would like stay up at night talking to his ham radio friends and stuff. Like my mom would tell me stories about that, and I've had his ham radio, you know, ever since I was born, and it's up in my studio now. But I was always curious about it, so I started researching it like during the pandemic. And it's like, oh, it's too hard.
Oh no, it's cool. I can actually give you a website if you want to.
Yeah? Oh yeah. I'll check that link later. Okay. This is
So
very pretty.
Blue
So what is that
or
bridge
the,
that we?
Bay Bridge.
That was not. That was the Bay Bridge.
That was the Bay Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge is to your left.
Oh, let's go there too. 'Cause that's really the postcard.
Yeah. Oh, and that's Alcatraz right in front of you.
Ooh, never went there.
Welcome to the rock.
I think the last time I was in San Francisco, I had to choose between going to Alcatraz or seeing whales on my only like free day. ended up doing neither because you have to wake up early to go see whales. There was like a boat trip you could take, like, and you would see the whales like really up close, and it was kind of like it was in season. It was whale season. It was like I think May or something. So never went to Alcatraz.
Have you seen the film The Rock, Helen?
That was I was gonna say, like, I've been to Alcatraz with the movie The Rock. Well, a great movie. And like, if my tour guide is not Sean Connery, what is it? So on the left there's a yacht that a startup guy or an angel investor uses on the weekend, right?
That's right. Yep.
The Palace of Fine Arts over there, Fort Winfield Scott. It's a fort. It's one of your military things to take over the world or something. And there we go, the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, there you go.
You may know it from the opening of Full House.
It's true.
And I think the ending of one of the Matrix movies, Matrix Revolution.
Yeah.
I think they're sitting looking at it.
Squawk 12.
Maybe like the Oracle
Frequency change
and a
approved.
and a
Cessna
child
X-ray Golf
looking
Sierra.
at it, or maybe it's another bridge. I don't know.
I think
But it's kind of that
Cessna
classic
Alpha
angle of
Sierra
like
X-ray Golf
sitting
Sierra is
on the
Cessna
coast,
Skyhawk
looking
5
over,
miles
and the
southeast
bridge kind of
of
takes the
Charlie
left
Alpha 100.
of the frame kind of up to its center.
It's definitely an X-Men 3. It's in a James Bond movie called A View to a Kill.
Oh yeah, is X-Men 3 the one they break it off and there's mutants on either side?
I think so.
Is that the one that David Hayter wrote, or did he write two?
Wait, David Hayter wrote an X-Men movie?
Yes, the voice of Solid Snake
X-ray Golf
wrote an X-Men movie. Lucas, our producer, if you're still listening and have not nodded off, if you could Google that really quickly and tell us in Discord which X-Men movie did David Hayter write the script for. I think it's actually two. I think he wrote the better movie.
All right, you're through.
All right, we did it. Flew under. Can I fly in between the things, or is the collision map not good? I need throttle. Need throttle. We're not gonna find out today, Drew. We're not gonna find out today. Okay, let's go. Let's try and land this baby, because that's the hardest part, isn't it? Everyone says it, and it's true, right?
Yeah.
For me, the hardest part.
Sierra
Oh, baby, that was for the audience, Drew. I was actually in control. But landing is the hardest part, and for me, the hardest part of landing on like Flight Simulator is figuring out how to come in at the right angle for the landing.
Yes, that's definitely one of the tricky parts. So I think if you turn toward that
Yeah, that's our airport right there.
We'll fly over Sausalito. Over here, it'll be on the left.
Sausalito, formerly home of legend Robin Williams.
Yes, indeed. And GiantBomb.com.
And GiantBomb.com. Yeah, I was going to say a place where I heard a lot of Giant Bomb staff complain about expensive sandwich.
Oh, yes. Very pricey tourist spot. That, on the far left there, that icon is a water port for float planes.
Oh.
If you're around San Francisco long enough, you'll see this yellow float plane that flies around. The tourists.
Ooh, apparently there was something we could do there with the cursor. I don't know. It has warnings for me, Drew. Whoa, why? Oh, okay. So apparently when I click this, I lose control of my plane, so I'm not going to do this anymore. All right, so
If you want, we don't have to make it all the way to Petaluma.
Oh.
We could land.
Emergency landing?
Yes.
Ooh.
We could
All right.
simulate an emergency landing, which is
Okay.
something that we do in training.
Right.
We'll
Okay.
announce over the radio that we're doing a simulated emergency landing.
All right. All right, let's do this. How do we start this?
Well, so when you're flying around, a good practice is to constantly be looking out the window saying, like, if my engine quit right now, could I land? Where could I land?
Whoa. Oh, boy. Doesn't look good, Drew.
This
Doesn't
does
look
not
good.
This looks very watery and hilly.
And full of people as well. Not a lot of clear space.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe once we get over these, we'll find some spots. Do you know of people that fly civilian planes in Brazil? Is that a thing down there?
It's a thing, certainly, but I don't. I think it's mostly I do so. There's actually like a very famous musician, and I was working with his brother when we met in 2017, and he was famously in a crash. Like he crashed his plane. Like he used to do it all the time. But yeah, people do it more in like not in big cities. So people usually have like planes if they have like houses on the coast or something like that, and they'll fly like small planes or like single engine planes like this, or like how do you call the ones that are like just kind of like fly around. They don't have much of an engine and have huge wings.
Oh, like a glider?
Like gliders. Yeah, I think he was in a glider.
Okay, so we could, if you want to land right now, we could do maybe over to the left, or right
there's
is a bridge if you really want to test your metal.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's land on that bridge, Drew. So should I cut all my engine?
Well, let's go to first-person view because that's
okay.
Typically how I All right, so keep the engine up. All right, a little bit, and then turn toward it, and then maybe I'd cut the engine now. And you're gonna want to put your flaps down.
Flaps down. How?
Okay. Can you use your mouse?
134.5 Cessna
okay.
X-ray Golf Sierra.
To the right. It's behind the right
NorCal
yoke.
approach Cessna
okay,
Alpha Sierra X-ray
Keep going.
Golf Sierra 500 feet.
To the right. To the right.
Oh, here.
One more. That. Crank that all the way down.
All right.
Perfect. All right, so that'll knock your airspeed down.
Okay.
And all right, so you're pretty good here.
I want to keep,
basically want
with
to
the bridge,
fly parallel to the bridge. So maybe nose down a little bit to get down there, and then when you level off, level off. Yeah, and just keep it like this, and try to keep it parallel. Yes.
There's cars in the water.
Hey, man.
But we did it. I was not paying attention to the speed we were in, and know if there was any way we could have survived that. But I think, hey, for my first actual doing things right flight, I think you instructed me the best you could, and I did the best I could to survive, even if I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, and you avoided all the cars, so.
I think they're actually the opposite of unavoidable because they're now under the bridge. I think that when we get close enough, they just get up there. Thank you, cars. All right. So this is Microsoft Flight Simulator. So there we have it. A European game, very good European flight game. Now, what we're gonna see is, can an American development studio recreate such a fine and complex experience as flight, and add, of course, the most American of elements, war. And so I am going to set up our next game here. Drew has some idea of what is about to happen. So again, like I said in the beginning of the episode, it was hard finding a game made by Americans that would run on my PC and was about flight, because a lot of them are PC games from maybe not that long ago, but PC gaming is janky in all its forms. independently of all of all borders. You know, it's a universal experience of the PC gamer anywhere in the world. And so now we have a game whose menu will only run at 640 by 480, but I got the game to run at least at 1080, so it's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna be okay.
Oh yeah.
Would you say this looks like a video game made by or financed by the belligerent government of an authoritarian state? You don't have to answer that, Drew, because you might have been persecuted for your opinions. We understand how it is over there. I speak from a free democracy, of course, and I am here to give voice to the voiceless. Thank you for coming on my show. All right, so there's a bunch of images. So to the people at home, we are playing F-22 Lightning 3, a game by Novalogic, a studio that made a bunch of games about U.S. military stuff. A lot of them subsidized by the U.S. military, like Delta Force, like the F-22 and F-16 games. It's the fighter jets that America wants us to believe are very important because they spend a lot of money on them, and that doesn't always work. Doesn't always work right, Jared? Do you have any knowledge of the fighter jets?
I do know that the F-35 was a notorious
boondoggle. Yeah, that's why it's not the main plane on the new Top Gun as well, right? It's because it doesn't much do something. But yeah, when I was growing up, like the coolest planes around was like, you know, fighter jets, American fighter jets, because you know there were everything. There was so much media about them, games and movies.
I mean, Top Gun did a lot for that.
Yes, Top Gun did a lot for that, and like the Ace Combat games are so fun, and like so many like all the like Sonic Wings games from Japan, and like you know all that stuff. Those planes look cool, and they do cool stuff. Maybe not in real life, but they do cool stuff in video games. So it's fun to play these games. And this is kind of like a very simulator take on these. Like a lot of these military games are. I remember when I was a kid, I'd try to play a bunch of these, but they were always so boring, especially for like a kid, because they were like, oh, you know, do everything by the book. And I was like, I play Quake. I want shoot, explosions. So I played a little bit of this just to make sure it was running. And so there's people on the radio telling you what to do. There's a lot of cool stuff. But before that, I just want to do just throw this out to you and the people watching at home. Did you know that Novalogic, the American studio behind this series of games, that does not exist anymore? It was bought by THQ Nordic in 2016 and kind of is defunct now. But did you know that in the 90s, they were the studio that was developing Super Mario's Wacky Worlds for the CDI, the one Mario game that was actually going to be a platformer, like a sequel to Mario World, but for the CDI?
I did not know that.
They were the ones picked by Philips of like, you shall inherit the Mario legacy. And what could have been, Drew? What could have been? Like, there's a prototype of that game that leaked, but very early on in development. We may never know. But maybe they could have subsidized some of that Mario game with.
We saw what you did with all those planes.
Exactly.
But for Mario.
But what if?
Imagine Mario one of these.
You know, they're not Nintendo. They can't finance a Mario game on their own. So, what if Mario joins Delta Force in a video game? You know, Camo Yoshi. It's, you know, what could have been. What could have been is amazing. I obviously cannot use a gamepad with this. This thing, before I patched it with some non-proprietary stuff, it wouldn't even let me do 3D acceleration because it doesn't know what a G-force is, of course. So this is mouse and keyboard all the way.
Do you know what year this came out?
This is 1999. This is running with Windows XP compatibility mode. So we can go on a quick mission here, and we'll see. It's a different approach here than the French. You don't even have to scroll down to get to a nuclear strike training
right
mission.
on the front page.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, oh, we have all this land. Should we use it for something? No, just gambling and nuclear bombs. So, and again, Nevada afternoon nuclear strike, Nevada morning, just free flight. So you fly a little bit around, then you go like, yeah, put a nuke in there. Let's do this. But now this is where it gets hot. It's just like you with Clothmap. We start flying around the world. We start knowing different cultures. So we go to Indonesia in the early afternoon. We don't say what for. We're not going to say why we're going into their airspace with a jet in the early afternoon. Let's not talk about that. But then we come back for a nuclear showdown in the early evening. Yes! Yes, baby! We are going to nuke the shit out of Indonesia in this game. And after that, well, maybe you have some breakfast, some dinner. It depends on where you land, really, for the time zone. But then you go to the Sudan. No one remembers the Sudan ever, baby. So what can you do? You can fly around. It's clear skies. Winds 20 miles a second. Or no. What is that? 20 knots. 20 knots. Is that too much knots? Not enough knots?
That's a good amount of knots.
Good amount of knots. So you know what that means, right? That means that we do some double play over Sudan. That means double play. I don't know what that means in this context. You know, I know what it means when people are naked, but is that like we're training for a dogfight or something?
It's a baseball reference. I don't know. A lot
But
of
it's
nuclear stuff here.
But it's no problem, because what we're going to actually do in Sudan, nuclear fire!
Everywhere we go.
Yeah, exactly. The people of Sudan did not see that coming. And even if they did, they had less than 24 hours of warning. Nuclear fire, baby! That's what we do with planes. Because that's one of the things I want to say about fighter jets, is that we all, like all these games and movies are about like dogfighting with those planes. That's not what those planes are for. Like it and haven't been since like the F-16. It's there for dropping missiles and sometimes nukes. Like thankfully never nukes, you know, outside of training. But they are for dropping bombs. And if we're talking dogfighting, the Germans did it better because they shot down a bunch of Americans and Russian planes in World War II. And
There are many early flight simulators that are about the Red Baron. And
yes, the Red Baron. I think even like the Crimson Skies game for Xbox that is you can play on the Xbox Series consoles. It's kind of like if that it's kind of in the future, but it's all the aesthetic is based around this futuristic kind of steampunk versions of the Crimson Baron plane.
One of my favorite flight simulators is called Rise of Flight, and it's about World War I planes. And it's great because like you don't have jet engines.
Yeah.
All your planes are underpowered, so you have to like use gravity and momentum to.
Oh, I'm gonna check that. Is that like reason? Can you get it on Steam?
I think it's still free to play.
Oh, free to, but it will run like on my Windows 11 machine.
I think so.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to check that out. Because I remember when I did have a flight stick many, many years back, I used it to play Combat Flight Simulator 2. And like I really like that because it was like, yeah, you can keep up with the other planes and you really have to be able to use your skills to maneuver and kind of get behind them. You know, it's not, because when you're super fast, it's so easy to, lose track of things.
Right.
And so that's why, once you do nuclear fire on the Sudan, you just go straight to Russia, my man. You don't even stop to refuel. And what is going on?
It looks like.
Yeah. Russia, even quieter than the Sudan. It's 15 knots over there with those winds. And then, like you said, straight to wasteland, baby. Boom. Can't do shit. And this is 99, so like Putin wasn't even in power, I believe. And this is like preventing everything, No Putin? How you do that? Turn Russia into a wasteland. Baby, America. All right, let's see how this all ends, because there seems to be a lot of missions. So, it ends in Inferno in Syria. Hey. Weirdly timely. It's almost like there's this agenda that goes through, government in, government out. There's an agenda going through the State Department and the American foreign policy is kind of like the same, because at the end of the day, you know, there's discrepancies about domestic policies, but whatever we do outside, baby, it's not hurting us. It's about the inferno, baby. Come on, am I right? Am I right? Okay. There's also a firewall in Syria before the inferno, and I guess that's for you know, you keep people in so they don't flee when the inferno happens, right?
They're just protecting their internet.
Oh, okay, yeah. Also, you know, that's the moment where we stop this to go thank our sponsor, Glasswire. If you want to know what's going on with your internet, no. There's also Heatwave, but we can't say this is man-made. This is the only thing we can't do, or else some people high up in the military will say that we're being a little facetious with our conclusions, and that, you know, climate is really an untamable beast. So, we did not see that there's a racer in Algeria. All right. So, which one of these appeals the most to you? There's no wrong answers, but unfortunately, Drew, there's no right answers as well.
Oh boy. Let's do firewall.
Firewall. If it is about setting up like a firewall in your like in your base, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be like it's just a mini game of plugging wires. It's awesome. So I don't want to see maps or loadouts because that's for suckers. We're just gonna go straight into this. My screen goes crazy, but you're seeing the game still, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause this game's old and it wants like exclusive full screen. Right. So you see, the Americans don't pay much attention to the maps of things outside of America. So you see, they didn't do like as good of a work as the French. And I know what you're thinking, Drew. It's like, this is 1999. This is like, you know, over 20 years before that. Yeah, sure. Whatever you tell yourself to sleep at night, Drew. But you guys making games in America have lots to learn. All right. So, if I am not mistaken, I pressed 9 a bunch. Like a whole 9. And
Look at those afterburners.
Ooh, yeah, baby. It's just the texture changing from red to bright, and there we go. But it's gonna be cool. Like once we're airborne, I believe it's gonna show us a bunch of numbers on screen, and like numbers, you know. But one of the things I got from the tutorial that was very American is that when it's like telling you what the things are on screen, there's an alpha, and it goes like, that weird symbol on your screen is an alpha. It's like, oh my god. It's like, oh, this is for grown-ups. You should know what an alpha letter is. All right.
Did you pick up the landing gear?
I don't know. I didn't press any buttons to do that.
Oh, it's all automatic? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there is. Oh, I don't know what I did there. I wish to know controls. Yeah. Also, I don't think there's a pause button. I should tell you that about this game. When you press ESC, it just goes. It's a Brave New World. Do you do mechanical keyboards? Do you Yahoo?
I don't Yahoo with mechanical keyboards, but I appreciate and respect those who do.
Okay. Yeah, that's all we can ask. You know, I get it. I get it. You know, sometimes, you know, a good typing experience is not what you want. It's fine, because you're a video guy. You don't want to type. Fuck typing, man. All right.
You ever seen an Avid keyboard?
Yes. I was at B&H in New York, and I almost bought like a keyboard overlay for Premiere. One of those things. Oh, it really, yeah. But yeah, the Avid stuff with all the keys. I'm the kind of person who almost goes into like eBay and wants to buy like old used like McDonald's keyboards from like the checkout stuff of like just weird. Like if you like that stuff, follow Foon on Twitter, right? They do the best. Do you follow Foon on Twitter?
No.
At FOONE. They are amazing, and they buy the randomest electronics. I don't even remember what country. Oh, it's Syria. But see, the game is effective in putting me in the headspace of like a military American fighter pilot. Of like, I don't even know where I'm going. I know I'm building a firewall with this plane. Everything is gonna burn in ways it shouldn't, because it's a wall. What are you burning? It should be a fire ground. But all right, it's okay. Okay, firewall. Accept. It still went full screen. But now
We're accelerated.
Storm is cleared for departure. Runway 27.
But now we know how to turn on the HUD.
Towards victory.
All right.
Roger, Storm 2.
Helicopters here. Good little atmosphere.
Okay, so the HUD button does nothing, but this does something.
Okay.
So that's more than we had. So I'm gonna go 9 because that's how we get to cruise speed. Should I do 0, which is full? Yeah, let's do full.
We'll do full for takeoff.
Yeah, for takeoff we'll do full.
Maybe even afterburners. Hit backspace. See what happens.
Yeah. Oh, oh man. Ooh.
Look at that.
Whew. That is nice. Okay, let's go to. Oh yeah, it does that automatically. Let's go back to. I can't. Oh, I have to turn off. I can't seem to turn off full throttle.
How about 9?
Okay, no, yeah, okay. I just had to hold the buttons a bit. Okay, so now we're at cruise speed. We got it. The rudders are here. This is a very precise plane. It should be because it flies very fast. That's good. So, I haven't been to Syria. Have you been to Syria?
Nor have I.
So we can't really speak to does it look as blotchy and blurry as here.
Right.
And I think that's what the game's counting on. Like none of our players have gone to Syria.
Right. It could look exactly like this for all we know.
Yeah, I don't want to assume. That's the last thing I want to do. Because that makes an ass out of you and me.
Indeed.
So there's red stuff to our left. I think that's an enemy,
There
right?
is red stuff.
The reds are our enemies. That's what I learned. And that's what I live by. Oh, whoa!
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Ooh. Oh, can I do the whole? Oh, yeah. All right, that's a
Yeah.
barrel roll, right? Yeah.
Huh?
Can you do a barrel roll on like a Cessna?
You could.
If you're what like if you have to be like fast enough and high enough, right? That you don't lose enough altitude.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, you would.
Have you ever done something like a cool maneuver like that? Maybe not a battle roll.
myself, no, but I've been in a plane that has done that. Yeah, and actually in training, my instructor, one thing that you do is spin recovery. So you saw Top Gun, you know how they get into a spin.
Mm-hmm.
You want to learn how to get out of that. Tougher to do, I guess, in an F-14 than it is in a Cessna.
Maybe.
But it's a tricky thing. So the instructor does it for you, and you're just along for the ride. And it's unsettling. It's
I
a little
bet.
scary.
I bet. How did it feel to be in the plane when he did a battle roll? How did your insides all feel?
I mean, it feels a little like a roller coaster. This was like a.
I do not like roller coasters.
Yeah, then you wouldn't like it. Yeah, it was a stunt plane, propeller plane, not like a jet or anything.
Right.
So where are we going?
I was
red?
trying to go to the red thing.
Okay.
Let's go faster.
What? Can we change view? Is there a cockpit view?
I think maybe it's this. No, it's this. No, this. Nope.
Whoa! Oh, hey.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay. So
Looks like no view
camera?
beyond like camera stuff.
Okay, so there's a pause button. The pause button is pause. There's no pause button on my keyboard. This is so 1999.
We're going down. 14 miles north.
Okay, so yeah, apparently this is the only view we get.
Your
Like,
J-
modeling cockpits is hard.
Your E6 has been destroyed.
Mission of failure. That's not what we're gonna say in the press briefing. All right, let's all get beers. I feel like this is the most American experience I could have gotten out of this game. We failed the mission, but I'm fine, and I'm cool, baby. That's how it feels. I don't want to play any more of this game, and this episode has gone long enough, and I think I should let you go, Drew. So I'm going to go back to our... Like, it crashed both times I tried to exit the game. Drew, have I proven to you that Americans can't make video games that aren't janky, and that there's a particular jankiness to American video game development? Yes or no?
Listen, video games are hard, and as an American video game developer, I can tell you, the American jank is real.
The American jank is real. So I'm ready for my reveal of the front of my hat here to end this. I'm going to do the opposite of Stallone and over the top, and I'm going to spin it to the front. Ooh. Drew, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for trying to teach me to fly and to not die when landing on a bridge that turned out had rails in the middle of it, so it was not the best place. But hey, that's kind of a French jank right there, because it didn't, like, the LOD was not really updating as quickly as we wish it would, right?
It's true. We didn't even comment on the geometric whirlpools happening in the water.
Oh yes, and the cars driving over it. I mean, there's jank. Well, I think if the message of this episode is just one, let's take that message. Jank is universal. We all have our kind of jank. We all have our jank right here, and our jank makes us who we are. Is that right, Drew?
That is, yes. I think that's something we can all appreciate.
Thank you so much. Keep fighting the good fight and trying to make American video games a little bit better, a little jankier in cooler ways. And let me ask you, I know that in a past life making video games, you were tasked with making a lot of icons for achievements.
It's true.
Have you gone back to that sublime art?
Thankfully not. That's a difficult job, and I should leave it to the actual artists.
Right.
I'm a producer, but I do get to work on localization, which is actually pretty interesting.
Oh, that must be really, really interesting. Yes. So
I am the lone American in my company thinking about the other territories.
it makes sense. It makes sense. You're a traveled man. You've gone to many places with many languages, as you know, the place where they speak Balkan. But so I wanted to we're gonna have to release. This is gonna be a Patreon show, but we're gonna release cuts of this on YouTube, of course, to get people in the door. Give them a free, give them some free, and then they get hooked on the Pepsi. But anyways, so we're gonna have to play the thumbnail game, right? The thumbnail game seems to be a hard game. So if you were to be the face of an achievement, what would that face be so I can use it on a thumbnail?
Oh gosh.
And what would that achievement be?
I think I'd have to give you like I can't believe Gus just landed that plane.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course. Oh, I didn't even mention that, and whatever, I won't. Like, whoever got that, got that. Thank you so much. I'm going to hit that stop button, and you watching this, hit that Patreon button that takes you to a page that you fill out a thing. So it's not that easy, but please, we have tiers. It's for $3 a month. You can get special content. You can get Discord access. You can get so much stuff. And stuff is what American Jank is all about. Thank you so much for being here, Drew. Thank you so much for watching, and we're out.